Welcome back to the 379th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here. And this will be the second half of the show. And I believe we're ready to begin that. Hello, Mr. Kesh, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Are there any questions?
Okay, let me make sure that the attendees can raise their hands. Yes, they can, so I'll remind the attendees that they can raise their virtual hands in order to ask a question. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A from Liliana, who says, on behalf of the Spanish community, we would like to know what we can do using the Kesh technology to help Colombia to overcome the present situation of violence that they are going through.
I have received this request in a different channel, and as is the process of the new structure, is that we have passed on your emotional feeling and your fears and to those who are responsible to put things right. And these kind of questions should be addressed to Universal Council. And I have forwarded your request to Universal Council, as it's their dominion, it's their position. The soul of the Universal Council has the power to support, as we've seen many times before. This question of you is already in the hand of their council, and it's for them to meet and to decide. I posted your request to their, what we call, link, and in due course, it's their job to create a condition, if need to be, to change in that position with what we call the problems you have in your part of the world and the soul of those who live within that environment. And it goes back on the Spanish Universal Council and totality of the Universal Council, how to elevate the souls that the change come about. And we are not looking for magicians, we're looking for interactions and how their soul interacts with the soul of the people who feel this, and they can change the position and condition.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other question?
Yes,
Learn
from
the process, sorry, Rick. Learn to work within the structure which the Keshe Foundation has set for humanity. We have set the Universal Councils, we have set the Earth Council, and in so many ways, you have the supporters of the councils that you can go through to reach the Universal Council directly or through them if you feel more comfortable. As one of their supporters could be, Universal Council supporting could be from your part of the world, but speaking the language too. It's the process we have to learn, and it's the conditions we have to learn. That your port of call in time of troubles, in this level, on a what we call language level as a community, or even as a soul, has to go to Universal Council members. As we have no more prophets, we have no one to go to pray to Christ or Moses or whatever. We seek the totality of soul of our race to support us in that point of need. And the same will come to the universal community and to the soul of the Creator. man has learned to understand the process that there is no leaders except us leading our own soul and receiving that support, as I was teaching before, that radiation will come from to be a support to you in the dimension of the creation and the creator. Learn the process and you'll find much, much faster results. Are there any more questions?
Yes, there's more questions. Antonio asks, Mr. Kesh, when you say we are all messiahs, are you saying we are all divine? My
Hello,
thoughts are...
can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me, Mr. Kesh? Hello? Can you hear me? Do we have an audio problem? Hello?
Rick, can you hear me in the background?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, we have some kind of issue going on here, so bear with me a minute while I try to find out what's going on.
Hello?
Yes, hello, Mr. Kesh. Can you hear me?
Hello, Rick.
Yes, hello, Mr. Kesh. I believe that
Can you hear
I'm
me?
able... Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello, Rick.
Yes,
We lost
hello.
communication. Can you go on camera? Yeah. Hello, Rick. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, can you hear me? Hello. Hello, is my microphone not working? Can anybody else hear me?
Hello, Rick. Sorry, we lost you on
Oh, okay.
our speaker channel.
Yes. It was, can you hear me? And I can hear you kind of thing back and forth there. Okay. So, are we good there, Mr. Kesh? Are you ready for another question? Hello, Mr. Kesh? I can't hear you now. Your audio's off. I can't hear. There's no audio from Mr. Kesh right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay, you're back in. Okay, let's carry on.
All right. Okay, so let's see. We've got another question here that I was saying about from Antonio in the Q&A, who says, Mr. Kesh, when you say we are all messiahs, are you saying we are all divine? My thoughts are that the word messiah confuses some people and that divinity is in everyone, for I believe we come from the same source.
The word Messiah fits into the teaching of the holy books, which means the one who will find salvage for the man and the humanity. And this is what we call Messiah. I've seen on the internet a lot of people putting Mr. Messiah. He says this, I'm a Messiah, but to my soul, the same as you are. And this is the understanding of. And it's very interesting that the people who write this, they say, we as knowledge seekers understand, but people don't understand, and that's what we are using against you. This means you're depriving your own soul and point for itself to be further from the Creator. If you use the name of Messiah, which means the one who saves your soul from doing wrong, in a way, the soul which elevates itself to understand right and wrong, to harm the other one by it, you already have harmed yourself. You have already moved further out. We've seen this in past few months on the internet quite a lot of, and is used. Messiah says this and does that. And in a way, it shows the lack of understanding. And in a way, it shows the deliberate damage to your own soul. It's irrelevant. We are all, we use the term of Messiah for our souls, not for somebody else. But if it's used to create harm, you harm yourself. And it's very interesting. There is something which is very important to a lot of knowledge seekers to understand, is that the word savior, the only person who can save you from yourself is yourself, is your soul. And the rest of the physical dimension is irrelevant. Because we live a physical life, we don't understand, we try not to, where it suits us to say we understand the dimension of the soul. But in totality, we are off the same. The word Messiah is your soul, nothing else. And how you create a condition for your physicality to sit within the structure of the soul. And trying to use it or abuse it will come to light very soon. And this is what I raised even with some of the theologists and some of the influential power people, that we choose the point, we choose the time and place to confirm the maturity of our soul, and nothing else. There is no confusion. And we always waited for theologists and the holy books, as you call it, to explain to us the whole structure. But we never came to understand the reality of it, that is us, is our soul. And in coming time, more and more of us will realize and understand this. And it's interesting how some use the ignorance of the man in the totality of knowledge to create harm to the soul and physicality of the others. In a way, they pay for themselves. Even they can explain themselves, we know, but as they don't know, we're going to use it against you. And it's very interesting how it works out to work against themselves, because knowing you're harming or you try to harm and deliberately to do it and waiting outside for others to harm you, you have already committed the biggest crime can be done. Because when it's on the level of soul, your soul will balance the position. There is no punishment. And in so many ways, knowledge, knowing, has to become the point of elevation. And very soon, we will release what we call disclosure for many of you to understand the operation of the soul of the man. And this will enlighten many of you in one instant. And we don't look for the ignorance, we look for elevation of the soul of the man. Don't get confused if you say or we tell you, I'm the Messiah, as I've said many times, of my own soul, and you are Messiah of your own soul. I have no dominion over yours as much as you have no dominion over mine, as we are all servants to the same Creator. This is why we are all knowledge seekers. We have never brought the word of prophet or anything else into the operation of the teaching of the Keshe Foundation. We always speak about messengers. We are messengers. We bring a message of a deeper knowledge and nothing else. There is no theology, because when you understand the total message of physicality, you understood the theory or the theology behind. It is interesting how many knowledge seekers are coming to the same point. And it's interesting how the call of the Keshe Foundation through work of the knowledge seekers has finding a beautiful voice amongst many of us and many world leaders and many positions across this planet. 2021 is the time when you call it the Keshe Foundation will measure up obscurity, but it's the time when the soul of the man becomes elevated, that they find the knowledge as a gift, as a crown in the whole structure of their lives. And everything else will take second place and second position. It will not happen overnight, because a lot of you need to understand it. Otherwise, it'll be just following the sheep. It has to become ingrained in the soul of the man. And we'll see the changes as they are coming. And hopefully you will see massive changes in the progress in work of the Keshe Foundation, in teaching and spreading the knowledge in a very beautiful way that leads to the elevation of the soul of the totality. This time, we are all messiahs, and work of all of us together, we bring that message to humanity. And as we all get elevated, understand it, we allow the others to be elevated, and then the soul of the humanity and the rest. It's a beautiful time for those who understand this process. And it is a sad time for those who understand it and try to abuse it against mankind. Any other question?
We have a hand up here from Fernando. Would you like to go ahead, Fernando? And do you need a translator? Hello, Fernando. Are you able to unmute?
He's maybe the Fernando.
¿Qué tal? Buenos días, buenas noches, Rick. ¿Me escuchan?
Yes,
Are we
hello.
speaking in Spanish or Portuguese?
Gracias. Tengo una pregunta directa para Mr. Keshe. Una. ¿Sí?
Is it Spanish? You need Spanish translator, Fernando?
John in the background. Can you allow John to translate if he's in the background? Yes, John is here. Hi, John. Would you like to translate?
I think he's just getting his microphone. He's getting his microphone ready, I think, there.
Can you... Hello?
Yep, we hear you now.
We can hear you, John.
Fine, good. Because my computer's all burnt out. We had a a blowout yesterday, and I'm on an auxiliary unit. Sí, adelante, Fernando, adelante con tu pregunta.
Gracias, John. Buenos días. Mi pregunta es muy sencilla porque mucha gente en el español también me la está haciendo. A mí también. Mr. Keshi, ¿usted es de este planeta? Sirius A, Sirius B, planeta Zeus, etcétera. Gracias.
His question is, are you from this planet? Are you from Zeus or Sirius A or B?
I don't know. When I know, I'll let you know.
Él te va a dar a saber cuando él sepa de dónde proviene. Todos provenimos del mismo creador.
Es
In
que
essence, in the physicality of the man, in the soul from different dimension and direction.
Gracias, John. Y yo en lo personal sí entiendo. En el universo hay muchas creaciones del creador. No estamos solos. Pero hay gente que pregunta eso. Y bueno, aquí está la pregunta y gracias por la respuesta, Mr. Keshi.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh, for your answer, and I've understood perfectly.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have Salamia with a hand up here, and she had a question in the Q&A regarding a World Science of Soul Festival for all the scientists and political and spiritual leaders and so on. I think that's what you would like to address. So go ahead, Salamia.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to appreciate again and again the lovely teaching of Mr. Kesh, and thank you for it. Yes, Rick is right. I'd like to ask you if we are able to organize a World Science of Soul Festival for all scientists of the world, and spiritual and political leaders too, with the help with all knowledge seekers for our live TV Kesh Foundation, and try to integrate plasma science in all area of knowledge. This is essential for human being to understand the truth of the creation of the universe, of the unicos, and of human being as a small universe. Thanks again. Much love and admiration, Mr. Kesh.
And thank you very much. This has to go to the directors of the Kesh Foundation TV and organized through the representatives of the Kesh Foundation TV. And then these kind of things goes out of the hand of the Kesh Foundation, but organized as a television event or a process which the Kesh Foundation will be in the background to support. As we inform many of you, the Kesh Foundation as a company now is officially registered. And so we can start the proper work of the television channel as of coming weeks. And soon, as we said, the press passes of Kesh Foundation TV will be given to the knowledge seekers who are part of the organization and already represented or have been asked to represent their language or their culture. These kind of things from now on goes out of the hand of the foundation to the hand of what we call the structures which are coming up and is set up. You have to ask through your groups to the representatives to organize such a thing that it can be done in conjunction with the television channel and as a conference that it could live on the television. Give it to your representative, let it be discussed, and then between all the groups, organize such a conference. There is knowledge seekers in the background, especially from Greece, who are expert in setting up these things up. And I have seen them setting one up or two up. The second one is in Philippines. sometimes in May, and the process will carry on. There are knowledge seekers who can support you to organize these virtual conferences now and bringing large number of people to conferences to participate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kesh. I think that we can do in a regular basis.
You
And
have to discuss all
Yes.
these with the organizations which set up. We have a different target, different responsibilities, and we are breaking up in that place, in that position. You have to come, you're not to convince, but you have to bring it to them to see if they can organize. As we announced before, around about 20th of July, we are guests of the Romanian Kesh Foundation for the first scientific conference in Bucharest. I'll be attending this conference, and from there on, we take the next steps in scientific conferences. We're trying to have one in Tehran before I leave for Bucharest. And the process of the teachings will take shape very rapidly after the back end of June. As many of you knowledge seekers are aware, the Kesh Foundation internet group is already set up in Iran. The new pages and the websites of the Kesh Foundation worldwide as an international organization has already taken shape. We are looking at it, and the IT team and the head of the IT team and the Iran IT, and with the support of the what we call National Defense University, who's supporting this project in Iran, will bring it up to a point of conferences and meetings which are directly handled through one central point. And we're just going through the process, taking a couple of weeks. The structure now, the foundation has been made and is done, and gradually everything will come together in the next few months as one central station. And these broadcastings and conferences, virtual or real, will be in their hand to organize and set up in conjunction with the television station.
Yes.
Mr. Kesh, there is an invitation that we showed in the plasma group that's been put out from KFTV to scientists, researchers, and professors. And it says KFTV cordially invites you to present your research and participate in a panel discussion with other distinguished guests from all around the world. Proposed topics to be discussed are space exploration and technology, Earth exploration, cosmology, theoretical and applied physics, health, agriculture, environment, resources, energy, and materials. Is to be sponsored by the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute and will be recorded and streamed to a worldwide audience by KFTV. So that's in the cards, basically. It says it will be conducted online, and the time and place will be announced well in advance. So the candidates interested in participating should forward details of their credentials, research interests, and dates and times when available to the following address at interact@keshfoundation.tv. So that that invitation is getting out there now. So that's being organized, I guess, in the background.
We
Yes.
wait to see how it will take shape, but we are not aware of it. If it comes, if it's done, we will take most probably advantage of it to be able to share knowledge with other scientists.
and maybe we can link with the peace process and all scientists to sign
Any other
the
question?
peace treaty. And
Pardon?
yes,
We missed part of your voice.
yes. I said that we can link to be the World Festival of Science for Peace. And these scientists to sign the Treaty of Peace with their soul as a good example for spiritual and political leaders. This is my feelings, and I wanted to share with you. I hope you hear me. Yes?
We can hear you, but
Yes.
these things has to go to, if it's in that direction, put it to Universal Council and put it to the representative of your language
Yes,
and let them work.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
These things has to be organized with those who are now responsible for running of Keshe Foundation worldwide.
Yes, of
And at
course.
the end
But
of it,
yeah.
but at the end of it goes with the support and work of the heads of the Keshe Foundation, how to accommodate it and the rest. Once a decision made, and then it's the job of the foundation heads to facilitate it. And the team which works with them.
Yes, I think that Universal Council, together with representative and with all support of all knowledge seekers, because representative can't do anything without the help of the community. All
We have
communities.
set up a structure. We don't need to wish or think. Go through the structure, and it takes its own shape and form.
Yes, I already
Thank you.
propose it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Salome.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Any other questions?
We've got some more questions in the Q&A here. We've got Fred who's asking, why is vitamin B17, Laetrile, so successful in reversing cancer that it's even banned in different countries? Is that also
What?
because of...
Repeat.
He's saying...
We have an echo here. Can you repeat it again?
Freed in the Q&A is saying, why does it seem that B17, vitamin B17, Laetrile, is so successful in reversing cancer that it is even banned in different countries? Is that also because of radiation?
Can you go to your famous, beloved Wikipedia and see what is B17?
All right. Okay, so let me share screen here. B17.
There, you just jumped it.
B17 is a Swedish dive bomber, and that one, maybe over here. Are you sure it's not B12? That's the other one, but
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. What is B7?
maybe this is it. This will tell us something.
Look,
This is what they refer to from B17. It says, is a naturally occurring chemical compound best known for being falsely promoted as a cancer cure. It's found in many plants: apricots, bitter almonds, apples, peaches, and plums. Right,
Carry on.
so it's amygdalin, I guess is how you pronounce it, from the ancient Greek almond. It's classified as a cyanogenic glycoside because each amygdalin molecule includes a nitrile group, which can be released as the toxic cyanide anion by the action of a beta glucosidase. Eating amygdalin will cause it to release cyanide in the human body and may lead to cyanide poisoning. Since the early 1950s, both amygdalin and a chemical derivative named Laetrile have been promoted as alternative cancer treatments, often under the misnomer vitamin B17, but neither amygdalin nor Laetrile is a vitamin. Scientific study has found them to be clinically ineffective in treating cancer, as well as potentially toxic or lethal when taken by mouth due to cyanide poisoning. The promotion of Laetrile to treat cancer has been described in the medical literature as a canonical
Doesn't mean that it
example of
cures cancer
quackery.
by killing it, then you do not exist that the cancer exists.
Could you say that again, Mr. Cash?
I said, is it because by creating poisoning cyanide it kills you, so you don't exist, you're dead, so the cancer doesn't exist either?
You didn't die from cancer, at least.
Because when you're dead, you can't have cancer, you died.
Yeah, so they mentioned it was
If you understand the irony.
the slickest, most sophisticated, and certainly the most remunerative cancer quack promotion in medical history. So basically, if we start promoting that suddenly and didn't read this, then we would be under medical misinformation and probably have the YouTube.
Okay, so it doesn't
down.
exist.
Essentially, at least according to this article, this may have been, altered to accommodate that somehow.
So it creates cyanide, is not radiation, because all the vitamin Bs are radiation-based elements, not the element-based elements.
Ah, good point. Yes, right.
Okay, because B vitamins were used categorically to cover radiation fields. And the D usually is cover hormones and some other abbreviations, because they couldn't tell people we give you radioactive material, especially with the Fukushima and Hiroshima. And the same way with the hormones, which now like B3 and others are covered under different names. Okay, let me go somewhere else.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other question?
Oops.
You're flickering.
Yeah, I think we need to get back to your video somehow here. So.
Okay, if we.
There, we have the.
Okay, I got it.
Signal coming through. Yes.
Okay, can we have the next question?
Yes.
One of the things which we plan to do, hopefully, in Tehran is calling on world nuclear physicists to gather to decide on the future of nuclear industry in a true sense of nuclear, into the plasma than what we call weapon and heat. And I see this as one of the ways in changing the persona about nuclear industry and understanding of it by opening more truth to people in how not having the fear from it, not hiding the explanation of vitamin B12 and B9 and B6 in reading something in Wikipedia or other things, than generally understanding by public that we are made, we live, and we interact through fields of radiation, and taking the stigma out of this nuclear industry. And hopefully it'll be one of the conferences which we try to set up in Iran at the very beginning. And as I said, by end of June, through Iran National Defense University and others who we work through, and other universities will organize conferences to very rapidly spread the knowledge and change the thinking of the scientists in different way into the reality of the work of the nuclear industry and what we call the true plasma technology. And in time, we will see the changes, and in time, we will bring the new condition. As I said, one of the criterions we are returning back to Iran is that we have asked His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran to sign the peace treaty that puts a nation at peace. And whatever we do, we educate for development of the peace and evolution of the science and technology. This will be one of the cornerstones of the work of the Keshe Foundation in committing the world leaders, even hopefully the next president of Iran, to sign Iran into peace through not talk, but spreading the knowledge openly. And we hope we will see the backing of this with the Chinese leadership and hopefully with others in the realm of the creation of creating a better environment for all of us to teach the technology and the knowledge of space correctly. Walk away from the fallacies of the speed of light is the ultimate speed and everything else which have been created for us. And taking the next step in understanding of the process step by step, where knowledge has to be a privilege that we all have and not for a few. And teachings, mass teachings, the way we do now, but on a very large scale, that suddenly the whole course of knowledge and science goes back to realities and not fake realities. There is something, for example, what we heard, and is more or less to be confirmed, is very interesting. I've seen the head of FDA making a declaration that none of their staff needs vaccination. And so we have to bring a thing out that the knowledge is accepted by all of us and willingly and openly. And we establish credible organizations for knowledge and the true knowledge, which what we see now, like this B17 and other things, can be put aside and the knowledge can become very vastly and directly to be taught. In a way, it is very hard when I speak to the diplomats and the politicians that we are entering a knowledge sharing with not the intention, but with the full force to change the course with the sharing of the technology and knowledge with all the nations at the same time. This is the job of the Keshe Foundation and the knowledge seekers. And now you have the television channel and every other means to spread the knowledge and work on a dimension and direction of the totality. Any other question? We'll finish today around about 12 o'clock, if it's okay.
Mm-hmm. We have some questions from Dan here, and in the Q&A, he says, when we talk about capacitor batteries that power the maggrav or unit for plasma feeding, we can think in the sense of interactions between different levels of field strength?
Yes. You don't know if you have energy unless you can put a point of reference on it, or you can put something in it that it shows is moving. As I said to a knowledge seeker, a water is a water. You stand in a massive volume of water. You don't know if it's a lake and it's stationary or it's a river, unless you stand in it and see the direction of the motion of the water, which transfers its energy to you, or you can see the transfer of energy by motion of the liquid. You have no point of reference of the energy unless you put something as a zero, which is you standing there stationary, see how fast or at all moving or transferring its energy to you. And it's the same. You have to create a point of reference or interaction that shows by interacting that there is a difference. If there is no difference, you have no interaction, you have no change of energy. This is what we call, in the present world of science, potential energy, or the difference in position. Where we have the kinetic energy, we talk about the energy in respect to the motion and how fast. It's the same in the world of plasma.
Okay,
We call
thank you.
it higher strength and lower strength. In the world of the what we call electric current, we call it the potential position in respect to each other.
So I think that answers at least partly the second part of the questions from Dan here, who goes on, can any GANs be considered to be GANs from GANs because of the fields created between different intensities of the same GANs?
Yes. I think John in Arizona has already shown that 2-3 years ago.
Goes on to say the existence of two fields leads to the creation of the third one that interacts with the two. So there's a trinity.
Yes. In the teachings in the past, we always spoke about the GANs of GANs. And I think if John is in the background, if he's still with us, he can explain that. So I remember they'd done this test. In Arizona, they did this test. You see John on the list?
I don't see John there, no.
No, it's too late in Arizona.
The third part of it is, I'm not sure if this will be clear. Can we look into one, we have an infinity, and in a diverse infinity we have the unity of totality, one.
What?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think the translation might be a little bit rough on that one. It says creator is in the creation and creation is in the creator. So it's the words have to be perhaps come directly from the person that's asking the question or something there. Okay, let's carry on here. We have there's a question from Angel, and this comes up, it's in the YouTube comments, and she asks, this is a common sort of question or problem that people run into, especially with the signing of the peace treaty. So perhaps you can help. She says, I want world peace more than ever, but I know that if someone tried to harm me, I would evaporate them. I wonder what Mr. Kesh feels about protecting oneself from someone trying to harm others.
Explain.
Well, the idea is that people want world peace and they're willing to sign the World Peace Treaty, but when it comes right down to protecting themselves, they might pick up a weapon and, as she says, evaporate someone that would be trying to harm them. So there's a conflict there.
I had this discussion very recently, and that is, you leave it to the station of the soul and nothing else. I tell what will be the outcome if my wish is granted. And as those who we know we don't make any wish to harm, we know it'll be granted. And it's always to be, not to harm the others, but for what you have done, not to harm them, to yourself. It means, if I can explain it in a way, if there is a glass of water on the table and they wish, let's say, to throw it at you, if it's your wish that this water to be absorbed by me before it's thrown at me, then there is no water to throw. This is the way that we will change. I was explaining this to a knowledge seeker in past 2 or 3 days. That's why I can tell you exactly. I don't wish harm. I explain what harm they can do to themselves, but I take that position of what I have created or what I've done, not to be harmed, to be taken out of position. This needs a lot of maturity of understanding. It needs a lot of contemplation and understanding the totality. In the olden days, we hear a lot of the parents say, I wish you're never born, to the children. I wish I've never created you. In essence, now I put it in a different way. I wish the soul to become back to be part of me, that it becomes no harm to itself and to the others. In a way, I accept the responsibility of the elevation of that soul to myself, than leaving it in the hand of the time and the space. As I'm the creator, as part of the creation of that soul, you don't wish death, you don't wish nothing else, but you explain the consequences of me taking my peace back. It could be a loss for someone else, but without harm, because it doesn't exist for their dimension. And in a way, we don't end the life, but we elevate the life. We elevate the soul. And this needs a lot of understanding. This needs a lot of maturity. And in a way, the listener always thinks, oh, you're going to kill. No, I don't kill. I allow the soul to be elevated in the dimension and the position of itself within the structure of me that is not there to create a problem for the other and the others. But when you have led to such a position, other sequences and consequences as things have moved to be here have to be adjusted. And this is a very, very different way that has been understood up to now. In a way, I take the responsibility as I have made a mistake in creating such a condition and not blaming the others or the other position and souls. This is what we call to mature to the time. To mature, to understand the responsibility that you should have put the soul from the beginning in the right place, in the right order, that such a position should have never risen. And this has a lot of implication in the coming time when the soul becomes the creator of the physicality. There shall be no time that no father and no being wishes the death of another one or annihilation of the other one. I explained this very clearly to the knowledge seekers in many times in the past few weeks, because this is a very essence of discussion in some topics, in some corners. And that is, we do not end life. We take the responsibility of the soul which we have created, and for that soul to be created, to be in that position, means many souls have agreed. But I take the responsibility to elevate, but those souls have to create their conditions to the new position. And a lot of people say, you wish death. No, we don't. We accept the responsibility of maturing the soul to a new dimension. What we have been part of. It could be my grandchild, it could be your grandchild, it could be your brother, it could be my child, or whatever. We don't finish a cycle. We accept the responsibility of what we have put in to be in that position and time. Then it's like you're putting a magnet in the middle of the table, and a lot of things have changed to accommodate that magnet. Now, when you take it out, everything goes back, or you take part of yours out, everything goes back to the new situation. Even it could be that what you put in there is not acceptable in position, which means the others who have accommodated it have to change too because of the movement and what we call evacuation or reduction in the strength in that position. You can never wish death, but you can bring, with understanding of the soul, new elevation of the soul, that your soul takes out what he has put in there to create a new condition for the others to elevate. And it's a totally different way of approach, and it's the correct way to approach it. So you don't need to annihilate, you don't need to vaporize. If you go to that terminology, you're totally lost. But I take, and what I take, this is maybe if you mature enough to understand the other side of it. It's been said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. A man goes and takes an eye out because of an eye. But it means when I take the energy of that point, the others have to accommodate for what is lost, the total energy which has been removed, and then a new condition is created for totality. This is the way the souls work. And you have to understand everything else has moved to be in this position that this person is there, or this soul is there. When you elevate the soul, then all the other souls have made many moves with the conjunction of many other souls for this soul to be there. All have to move, but they don't go back to where they were before this soul was created. They all take new positions, even if it means something, another soul has to move out of the whole structure for the thing to balance out to be correct. Then You call it eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. This is the true explanation of it in the level and understanding of the totality of the soul. And now, you don't take your tooth out because a dentist is taking your tooth out. You don't take eye out if somebody by accident takes an eye out. It's that you take the responsibility of that soul, which you have been responsible to put in that position, or the action of your soul has been responsible for it to be there. And then you elevate it. And then everything else which has brought that soul to that position have to find new dimensions for themselves. This will stop man in the future to claim anything false, because man stands responsible to elevate what he thinks should have not been done, not to demolish it, but to elevate it. In the future, I'll explain this in a very, very detail for knowledge seekers to understand. Any other question?
Okay, let's see here. From Liliana, we have a nanocoding question from a fellow member of the Hispanic community. If nanocoats used in the reactor cannot, I have to rephrase the question here. Can nanocoating used in a reactor be nanocoated again, and what way would it affect using them in a new production of GANs? If they cannot be reused, what would be the reason?
No, translate.
Yeah. I think what they're saying is if your nanocoating is not good in the reactor, in a GANs container, can it be re-nanocoated? Or
yes, we do that every day in the Keshe Foundation manufacture.
so you use the same basic procedure as the initial?
Yes, it's the same elements, you just bring it up.
And you're talking about
Keshe
caustic.
Foundation has developed, yes. In the Keshe Foundation factories, we see when plates are used, after a while, we lose the strength of the production. In a way, it's because of the lack of the oxygen, but sometimes the plates move, that the fields are not the strength we need. We put them back into nanocoating. And sometimes we have beautiful residuals which we use as part of other processes. But yes, we do. And as I said, the Keshe Foundation China has developed a new, fully integrated nanocoating machines, which now is going to be implemented in all our factories, where at the moment you have all the, problems with the caustics and everything. They have developed a system which has its own tank. It has its own tank of caustic, and from the minute you press a button till you get your nano-coated 48 hours later, you don't touch anything. So when they use the nanoplates in their production, they take everything out of the cycle and they all go back together in one system, totally fully integrated system. And when you put the plates back into the rack, they're all of the same order. And we produce always continuously the same kind of gases in the order. And this process is beautiful because there is no wastage. We developed this because we are a zero, what we call emission technology. And one of the problems we had was the production of the caustic water and caustics with a high temperature. This way, nothing changes. It's totally sealed unit. And the caustic water in departing or being moved from the system goes into a reserve tank, which goes for a soap production. We have developed a total zero emission in every aspect in the Keshe Foundation. We developed a beautiful, safe system that, you know, when you add a caustic, you get the steam and everything else, all has been looked after. And each production line of the GAN system has one of these units with it. As you do, you have the caustic, and then you have the hot water, and then you have how to get rid of it. All has been integrated into one system. By accident, it was shown by one of our knowledge seekers in China for a very short few minutes in public a few days ago. We took it out very rapidly, but this is part of the structure. Keshe Foundation now has completed its first agricultural unit in Austria for farming, and the videos of it was made last Thursday or last Friday, and soon will be shown as a fully integrated system to feed and for agriculture and disinfectant of what we call animal husbandry, using the same kind of technology and the knowledge. And we have gone, as I said, into what we call looking after the farming in a very totally different way, that from the seed to be grown, to be fed to the animal, to the point of feeding the animal, looking after the animal, till the point they leave the farm, now is fully integrated as one system for the Keshe Foundation with a new farm unit. I'm sure Mr. Casimir, head of the Keshe Foundation, sales soon, will release this video for agriculturists who want to use a system not only for farming, but in looking after the animals and everything else. It's a beautiful self-integrated system. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a question from Liliana in the Q&A here regarding the certifications that knowledge seekers obtained. I guess it'd be a couple of years ago now when we had a workshop certification. She says, because in some groups they are promoting their certificates and saying that the foundation gave them a logo to give workshops on the Keshe technology. These certifications
were produced, and we on the wrong paper, wrong company, wrong signature, and a lot of people took it as is from the Keshe Foundation direct. And these are not from the Keshe Foundation. If you look at it, it comes from a different part of the organization of Keshe Foundation, refers to different organization of Keshe Foundation, and then is signed by a different person in the foundation. These were done for whatever reason, and the gentleman who's done it is not with us anymore, and they are not valid. But a lot of people like to have it because it gives them a chance to teach or whatever. We have asked them to withdraw it because it has no validation. But it was done 2-3 years ago to do a lot of things, and when we realized what's happening, we just put a stop to it. But these certificates are not, in a way, representation of the Keshe Foundation. But a lot of people use it. We've seen people who we asked to give one talk or explain something in the Keshe Foundation. They went and they made themselves professor at Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute University. You put it whatever you like. And there are a lot of things you've seen over years we changed in the Keshe Foundation. One was this: we used to allow people to come and share knowledge, and then they became gods and the gurus because they had a couple of sessions they were spoken to. We stopped all these abusers, people who brought something to show, and then it says promoted by the Keshe Foundation can be seen on Keshe Foundation teaching. And gradually, as you've seen, we stopped these kind of abuses. In a way, we stopped a lot of new knowledge being shared, but a lot of people are abusing it. Keshe Foundation teaching has to be on the basis of the teaching of the foundations we do, and you do not need a certificate to give you a commission. Well, I know this exists in Brazil heavily. They are trying to protect themselves because Kevin Blondale created these papers, and we cannot tell people this is not from us. It's been done, and if you look at the paper, it's got all sorts of things on it. And the whole thing is a mishmash of things put together and does not come from the foundation. But a lot of people are holding on it. Some people have faked it and put their own name on it. And this is not from what we put out. You don't need a certificate to become a knowledge seeker teacher. We don't even create certificates for the knowledge seekers who finish as a students.
And of course, what did you do with your diploma? That's a famous story as well.
In the governmental institutes where we're going to teach, because they want to all be accredited. How are you going to accredit what you understood? And as I said to some of the university work, there'll be no examination. And they say it cannot be, they have to be assessed. I said that was the old way. If they attended, they learned something. When they use it, they passed it, not today and tomorrow, to answer two questions if it fits into the brain of a teacher. Knowledge has been taught and is for the seeker to use it appropriately when it's needed, without certification. Any other questions?
I think you want to wrap things up here, but we have a question from Macro Micro in the YouTube. Is this the technology behind the Tic Tac UFO?
Somebody can explain to us what's the Tic Tac and what is the UFO Tic Tac?
The Tic Tac UFO is what's become sort of a famous video now, showing the U.S. Pilots trying to follow a fast-moving, what do you call it, triangle-shaped UFO, and this name started to be called the Tic Tac, or it's actually a Tic Tac tablet shape, which is a
try to find on a spot.
To find the a picture or something, you mean?
No, I mean they try to find on the spot what called tic-tac-toe. We have a share of the screen here somewhere.
Okay, we see you. Do you want to wrap things up, Mr. Keshe, or can you take another
Yes,
question?
If there are no more questions. There is a situation, we said we have the meeting today at 7 o'clock tonight, and because of the situation, it's turned back in to normal time. These are because of the special situation which we are involved privately, and it has to be sorted. And we go back as usual to Thursday teaching And coincidentally, these things happens every Thursday, every now and then, and hopefully it'll come to an end. Try to understand the technology in its essence. We will not stop teaching. We will not stop sharing knowledge as long as there is life in this body and as long as we can share freely. We have caused evolution and a lot of position for scientific world to adjust, as we are not a theological organization, we are a scientific organization. Try to understand the teaching of today, mainly on understanding of the plasma physics and understanding in how the changes will come. And in that process, we might mature. And in that process, we might learn more about ourselves, more about our own creation now, how we are and we have been created. The understanding of the process of life comes from the maturity of the man. And hopefully we all mature very rapidly to understand the totality and somehow find the balance within ourselves. Thank you very much for today. We hope we see you in a short time, somewhere around the world. Today will be more or less the last time we'll be live on TV channel, and we'll go back to the usual way as we try to share knowledge and spread the knowledge and be around with different people around the world. As the corona situation is settling down, allows us to come back to share and be amongst the knowledge seekers. In the next couple of weeks, we move to different positions around the world. And as I said, we meet each other in July in Romania, around 20th, depending where the Romanian community is set up. And then we will meet most probably, I hope, somewhere before our meeting in July in Romania. We all meet in Tehran and in the head offices and the offices of the Keshe Foundation in Iran. And hopefully next week and the week after, we'll be in different points and positions on this planet to share knowledge. We don't disclose most of our movement and the dates for security reasons, but today, for the time being, with the last transmission from the studios of the Keshe Foundation, you will see us on what we call the whiteboard and the panels of teaching has been, but the TV channel will still broadcast the same way for the records. And we try to create a condition that gradually the knowledge seekers will take position about the teachings on TV channel as the programs have started loading up, as we promised, from 21st of April. Now the television channel is building its programs and gradually to a full-time as different groups are taking shape and taking position and taking responsibility for own languages. Thank you very much for today, and we'll meet next week in another point and position somewhere on this planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again for yet another Knowledge Seekers workshop here, full of interesting and necessary knowledge for humanity and others. Okay, this has been the 379th Knowledge Seekers workshop on Thursday, May 6, 2021. Thank you everybody for attending. Thank you for your questions, and any questions that remain, please bring them through for next week. And we'll see you all again then. I'll remind that there is a testimonials meeting on Monday, May 10th, I believe it is, coming up. And let me just double check that. Yes, on May 10th, we have a testimonials meeting at the same Zoom number. And people are welcome to bring their testimonials of the plasma technology and share them with others. It's a great way to help pay back for receiving this knowledge. and that is at, get it straight, 8 p.m. Central European Summertime on Monday, May 10th. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next time.